I don't really like the idea of recruiting people to pay them less because there's a perceived notion of a cost of living is less.
BusinessJournalDaily.com. 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
The following is an excerpt from the Brain Gain Youngstown Leadership Series. The new podcast features conversations with local leaders who are focused on building a culture of entrepreneurship and promoting workforce development.
But I'd have to imagine, and I hope, that with the amount of business flowing in and the amount of economic development happening, that's something that we don't hold on to as maybe it's a convenient excuse. I'm asking people for money every day too. Oh, you're not going to get that in Youngstown. It's like, oh God, I want to challenge everyone out there to change that mindset. Stop using that excuse. And I think you hit the nail on the head, the value, right? What value can you create that?
I challenge that status quo, and I've challenged it for 5 years now. And I think that there was a point in time in Youngstown when obviously our legacy with the steel industry collapsed. And if you were a have, you didn't want to let the have-nots know that, right? And there's some Midwest sensibilities that come along with it. But then again, I follow people on Instagram and they go to Pittsburgh and Cleveland or having, $200 steak dinners, with a bottle of wine. I'm like, why does that steak dinner in Youngstown, Ohio, cost so much less? And so, or why if you could do that in Pittsburgh or Cleveland, why wouldn't you do that in your own hometown? I don't get it. And so when I launched our print publication, which was really a high-end brand, native advertising play for the year, I feel was a ton of value. You got to keep your photos. There was networking events through the year. There was a digital component. But it was a kind of a luxe brand. And people, were, you're not going to get that in Youngstown, Ohio. But what inspired me to do that is going out to the Lake Club. And I know that you've had Ed Moransky on, and just a wonderful business leader in the community. And you look at what he's built out there and the size of the membership, and you say, wow, you know what? Guess what? Youngstown likes nice things. We may not brag about it. We may not, but they like the pool, and they like the environment, and they like dining by the lake. So if there's that many people here that like that, then there's got to be a subset of those people that are going to like my brand, and or if it reflects some of those things. And so I think that move helped me to realize, don't lessen it because we're in Youngstown. People actually really do want nice things here, and they want good value, but are willing to pay for it. But I do hear that. I hear that all the time, and I get squeamish.
Yeah.
The other thing I hear about a lot too that I'm really uncomfortable with is the pay rate and the salary rate. So, the big myth, I think, is how much cheaper it is to live in Youngstown than it is to live elsewhere. And I think that the only place that you save on the dollar in Youngstown is the home that you purchase. Moving back from Cleveland, New York City, Columbus, a cup of coffee costs what a cup of coffee costs.
Right.
Our food costs here aren't significantly. I think they're actually on par with any place else in the country.
Oh yeah, recently too.
So your car's not cheaper. Your car insurance isn't cheaper. Your gas isn't cheaper. Actually, your gas might be a little bit less. So then we convince people to say, well, if you lived in New York, your salary would be $100,000 a year, but you come to Youngstown, you could live like a king on $65,000 a year. And why would I cheapen my worth? I don't buy into that. I don't buy into that at all. There's an economy of where you live, and cost of living might be more, and so you have to adjust the gross of the salary. But if my talent, I should be maximizing my talent for what the pay scale can get. And I don't really like the idea of recruiting people to pay them less because there's a perceived notion of a cost of living is less.
The interview you just watched is an excerpt from the Brain Gain Youngstown Leadership Series. The new podcast features conversations with local leaders who are focused on building a culture of entrepreneurship and promoting workforce development. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell for notifications. And also make sure to connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. For all of your business news, visit BusinessJournalDaily.com. For all of your arts and entertainment news, go to AfterHoursYoungstown.com.
BusinessJournalDaily.com. 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
I like a bank that's a pillar in my community.
I like a bank so cutting edge, they have a lab branch.
We are so alike.
Well, we do both bank at Farmers National Bank.
Farmers.
Stand strong.